Hello everyone, let's talk science. Now, last week I did an experiment where I weighed some ice cubes and then I melted them using my hot plate, and then I weighed them again to see if they had the same mass, because we know that the heat energy from my hot plate didn't add any mass to the ice cubes when it melted them into liquid water. However, we discovered that the liquid weighed significantly less than the solid ice cubes, and I asked you what happened. Now, a lot of you wrote in and told me that you saw steam coming out of the beaker and into the atmosphere, into the classroom, meaning that the gas or the steam from the boiling water left the beaker, and that meant that the mass was reduced. And you are correct. I didn't take account for the fact that the water was going to escape when it boiled. And so we were actually measuring a smaller mass of liquid water than the ice. And that's why they were different. I didn't account for everything. So I'd like to take this opportunity to talk to you guys a little bit about controlled variables. The controlled variables are the ones we keep the same. And the thing that I gotta tell you about controlled variables is, if you forget them, like I did in my experiment, they will ruin your experiment. Think about it like this. If I were to hand you a glass of water and say this glass of water may or may not have 2 or 3 drops of toilet water in it, how much would you drink? None, of course, because you can't trust the contents of that water. You have to throw the whole thing out. And what happens when you have a controlled variable that you forget to control and it ruins your results, you have to throw the whole thing out. So considering how you can look for your controlled variables, you can try to find the things that might ruin your experiment and then keep them under control, you're going to have to be creative and figure out ways to stop the controlled variables from controlling your experiment. Now here's what I did with my experiment. I took the beaker with the ice cubes and I covered it in plastic wrap or saran wrap. And then I weighed it, and then I let it melt naturally so that the boiling of water from the hot plate didn't add any more energy. And then I weighed it again. And here you have the results. And you're going to notice that it's not quite perfect, but we're getting it as close to perfect as we can. Of course, we can't always have the best equipment. Sometimes our equipment may fail. Sometimes we may make little tiny mistakes. But the more we control our controlled variables, the more the controlled variables don't change the result. So, what are the controlled variables in your next experiment that you're not thinking about? For the next experiment you do, which you have one coming up, I would like you to think of 3, perhaps even 4 things that may influence the result of your next experiment. Figure out how you're going to control them so they don't control you. So for your reflective question for today, I want you to write down 4 things that might influence the results of your next lab. And keep thinking about how you can keep them from influencing them. All right, that's it. Good luck.